Welcome to Relation Tales. Please like this video and subscribe Relation Tales. Olivia and Jack had been married for nearly a decade, but their love story was not as perfect as it once seemed. In the beginning, everything was magical. Olivia, an art gallery curator with a love for beauty and creativity, had fallen for Jack's stability, his determination, and his unwavering devotion. Jack, a diligent engineer, found Olivia's passion for art refreshing, a stark contrast to the logical, predictable world he lived in. They had seemed like the perfect balance for each other. Their early years were full of travel, shared dreams, and late-night conversations that stretched into the early morning hours. Jack admired Olivia's talent for curating exhibitions and saw in her an endless source of inspiration. Olivia, in turn, appreciated Jack's groundedness. He was always there to support her, both emotionally and financially, making her feel safe in a way no one else ever had. But as the years passed, the passion faded. Jack's work hours grew longer as his responsibilities at the engineering firm increased. He became consumed by his projects, often spending late nights at the office or attending business trips that kept him away from home for days. He believed he was doing what was best for them. After all, he was working hard to build a future for them both. But in his pursuit of success, he failed to notice how his marriage was slipping away. Olivia, on the other hand, began to feel trapped. She had once loved Jack's stability, but now it felt suffocating. Her days followed a monotonous routine. Wake up, prepare breakfast, go to the gallery, attend meetings, come home to an empty house, and repeat. Jack's absence had left a gaping void in her life, and their once passionate relationship had cooled into something resembling more of a business partnership than a marriage. Olivia longed for excitement, for passion, and for something that made her feel alive again. It was around this time that Nate entered her life. Nate was new at the gallery, hired as a curator's assistant to help Olivia manage the increasing number of exhibitions. He was 10 years younger than Jack, full of life and energy, with an artist's flair and charm that captivated Olivia from the moment they met. He was everything Jack was not: spontaneous, free-spirited, and most importantly, present. Nate was quick to notice Olivia's talent, and he never missed an opportunity to compliment her work. Olivia found herself drawn to him in ways she hadn't felt about Jack in years. At first, she tried to dismiss her feelings. After all, she was married, but it was impossible to ignore the way Nate made her feel. He looked at her like she was the most fascinating person in the world, something Jack hadn't done in a long time. Their relationship began innocently enough. They would stay late at the gallery, working on upcoming exhibitions, sharing ideas, and laughing about their favorite artists. But as the weeks passed, the tension between them grew. Olivia couldn't deny the attraction anymore. Nate was everything she had been missing, a spark of excitement in her otherwise dull life. She knew she should stop, but she couldn't resist the pull. One evening, after a successful gallery event, they celebrated with a few glasses of wine. The gallery was quiet, the soft lighting creating a cozy atmosphere that felt far too intimate. Olivia had been feeling particularly vulnerable that night, tired of the cold distance between her and Jack. As they talked, Nate leaned in closer, his gaze lingering on her lips. Olivia felt her heart race, a mix of fear and excitement coursing through her veins. Then, without thinking, Nate kissed her. At first, Olivia was shocked. She had never imagined actually crossing that line. But the warmth of his lips and the thrill of the moment made her forget everything. She kissed him back, and in that instant, her life changed. That night, they didn't just kiss. They crossed a boundary that Olivia knew she could never return from. From that moment on, Olivia began living a double life. By day, she was Jack's wife, supportive, loving, and dutiful. She continued to attend dinners with him, occasionally hosting gatherings for his colleagues, and doing her best to keep up appearances. But by night, she was Nate's lover, sneaking away for secret meetings at his apartment, where they would share passionate nights together, away from the judgmental eyes of the world. Olivia had never felt so alive. Nate brought out a side of her she had forgotten existed, the side that craved adventure, spontaneity, and excitement. Every time they were together, she felt like a teenager again, lost in the thrill of forbidden love. She knew it was wrong, but she didn't care. She had spent too many years feeling like she was trapped in a life that no longer fulfilled her. Meanwhile, Jack remained blissfully unaware of Olivia's affair. He continued to focus on his work, believing that everything at home was fine. He trusted Olivia completely, never questioning her late nights or her vague explanations about gallery events. To him, their marriage was as strong as ever, and he was proud of the life they had built together. But as the months passed, Jack began to notice subtle changes in Olivia's behavior. She was more distant, often distracted, and seemed to have lost interest in the little things they used to enjoy together. Conversations that had once flowed easily between them now felt forced, and Olivia was always quick to excuse herself, claiming she was too tired from work. Jack tried to brush it off, telling himself that Olivia was just stressed, but his gut told him something wasn't right. One evening, Jack came home earlier than usual, hoping to surprise Olivia with a romantic dinner. But when he walked through the door, he found the house empty. Olivia hadn't mentioned any late meetings, so he was puzzled. He decided to wait, thinking she'd be home soon. Hours passed, and there was still no sign of her. Jack's worry turned into suspicion. When Olivia finally walked through the door around midnight, Jack was sitting in the living room, his arms crossed, his expression tense. "Where were you?" Jack asked, his voice calm but laced with concern. Olivia froze for a moment, caught off guard by his question. She had been with Nate, but she couldn't tell Jack that. She quickly composed herself and offered the same excuse she had used countless times before. "Sorry, I had a late meeting at the gallery." The event ran longer than expected. Jack stared at her, his eyes searching hers for any sign of a lie. "Late meeting? You didn't mention anything earlier." Olivia shrugged, trying to appear nonchalant. "It came up last minute." Jack nodded slowly, but his suspicions weren't eased. Something about her story didn't add up, but he didn't want to accuse her without proof. He decided to let it go for now. As the weeks went by, Jack's suspicions continued to grow. Olivia became more secretive, spending more time out of the house, and always seemed distracted when she was home. Jack couldn't shake the feeling that something was seriously wrong. One night, after another late return from Olivia, Jack couldn't hold back any longer. They were sitting at the dinner table, the tension between them thick enough to cut with a knife. Jack finally spoke up, his voice heavy with frustration. "Olivia, what's going on with you? You've been acting strange for months now. You're always late, you never want to spend time together anymore, and you're constantly distracted. I feel like I don't even know you anymore." Olivia's heart raced. She had been dreading this moment, knowing that Jack's patience would eventually run out. She tried to stay calm, but the guilt was overwhelming. "Jack, I've just been really busy with work. The gallery has been demanding, and I've been under a lot of pressure." But Jack wasn't convinced. He had heard the same excuse too many times. "Don't lie to me, Olivia," Jack said, his voice stern. "I know something's going on. If there's something you need to tell me, now's the time." Olivia felt trapped. She could see the pain in Jack's eyes, but she couldn't bring herself to tell him the truth. She had gone too far, and the thought of losing everything terrified her. So, she did what she had always done, she lied. "There's nothing to tell, Jack," Olivia said softly. "You're imagining things." But Jack wasn't buying it anymore. He stood up from the table, his face hardening with resolve. "Do you think I'm stupid, Olivia? I know something's wrong, and I'm going to find out what it is." With that, Jack stormed out of the room, leaving Olivia sitting there, her heart pounding in her chest. Jack couldn't take the uncertainty any longer. He had tried to trust Olivia, but his gut told him that something was terribly wrong. That night, after Olivia had gone to bed, Jack decided to look for answers. He knew it was wrong to invade her privacy, but he couldn't live with the doubt gnawing at him. He picked up her phone, his hands shaking as he unlocked it. As he scrolled through her messages, his heart sank. There they were, the texts from Nate, the intimate messages, the longing words, and the plans for secret meetings. Everything was laid out in front of him, confirming his worst fears. Jack felt his stomach churn as he read the messages. His mind raced as the reality of Olivia's betrayal hit him like a freight train. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. The woman he had loved and trusted for nearly a decade had been cheating on him, and he had been too blind to see it. He sat there for what felt like hours, staring at the screen, the weight of the betrayal crushing him. How could Olivia have done this to him? After everything they had been through, after everything he had sacrificed for her. This was how she repaid him? The next morning, Jack couldn't contain his anger any longer. He confronted Olivia the moment she walked into the kitchen. "Who is Nate?" Jack demanded, his voice low and filled with rage. Olivia froze, her face turning pale. She knew the moment had come. Jack had found out. "Jack, I can explain." "Explain?" Jack shouted, his voice shaking with fury. "You've been lying to me for months. You've been cheating on me with another man. And you want to explain?" Olivia's eyes filled with tears. "I'm so sorry, Jack. I never meant for it to happen. I was lonely, and you were always gone, and don't you dare blame this on me." Jack yelled, his fist clenched. "I've been working my ass off to give us a good life, and this is how you repay me? By having an affair behind my back." Olivia sobbed, but Jack wasn't done. "Is the baby even mine?" Jack asked, his voice trembling with emotion. Olivia's silence was all the answer he needed. Jack felt like his world had been ripped apart, but he wasn't the type of man to let something like this go without consequences. He filed for divorce the next day, using the evidence of Olivia's affair to ensure that she walked away with as little as possible. He made sure that their shared assets were divided in his favor, leaving Olivia with nothing but her guilt. But Jack didn't stop there. He took the evidence of Olivia and Nate's affair to the gallery's board of directors, ensuring that both of their careers were destroyed. Nate's reputation was ruined, and Olivia found herself blacklisted from the art world she had once thrived in. As Jack walked away from the wreckage of his marriage, he felt a strange sense of satisfaction. He had been betrayed, but he had also taken his revenge. Olivia and Nate had paid the price for their betrayal, and Jack could finally begin to heal. Second story. This has been a really tough situation for me to understand. I've honestly never felt this hurt or betrayed before. My boyfriend and I had one of the best relationships I've ever been in, but we both struggled a lot with our mental health. One of the biggest problems was that he had a hard time communicating his feelings. I never really knew what he was going through. He seemed like a really good person, at least I thought so. He would always try to be there for me and reassure me. He bought me thoughtful gifts and wrote me love letters, which made me feel so loved and cared for. I did the same for him, and I was really grateful to have him. We had our ups and downs, but overall, it was one of the best experiences I've had. But when I was about to start college, he had some feelings about it that he couldn't express. We had a small argument, and he got really drunk, and a girl kissed him. He told me about it afterward. I thought about it a lot, and decided to give him a second chance because the situation didn't seem so simple. But recently, things got difficult again. I think he realized he needed to focus on himself, and he wanted to break up, but he said he wanted to wait until we could talk in person. Then he got drunk again, and I'm not sure what happened. He always felt like I was too good for him, and that idea hurt our relationship in the end. He wanted me to move on and even hate him, so he made the decision to cheat on me again. He said he doesn't even remember it, because he blocked it out. I found out the same night, and I was really upset. We argued, and then decided to meet up to officially end things. He told me he fell out of love with me, so I accepted it. When we met up, we both broke down. It was honestly the saddest moment of my life. I still care about him so much, and I know he's not thinking straight. He's made some bad decisions, but that doesn't change how much I care about him. I don't know what to do. We broke up, but I'm struggling because I still love him so much. I know I deserve better, but the heartbreak is hard to deal with. I just wish this wasn't happening, and I wish mental health issues hadn't played such a big part in ruining our relationship. I don't even know why I'm sharing this, but I'm having a really hard time knowing I probably can't be with him again, even though I still want to. It's just so hard.